Hello, everyone, and welcome to the W2 Amigos podcast, where we talk about passive investing, real estate, and all the money moves you can make while working your W2 so you can establish your financial freedom. Here to talk about the W2 journey is your host and amigos, Nick Coulter and Xavier Marin. Nick, what is up, man? What are we talking about today?
So we're kind of doing a part two to the episode we ironically just recorded. I did have a change of wardrobe for those who are wondering. It's got a little hot in my room. I was a little sweaty. And we're going to talk about our personal goals. So we are here to put our money where our mouth is and share with you guys all what we're going to be looking to accomplish in 2023. And it's going to be a vulnerable moment because we got some tough goals out there, man. We got some big things that we want to hope to accomplish this year. So I'm excited to share with you all.
Yeah, man, talking about going all out for accountability and putting your goals out there. Typically, I just kind of tell a couple people in my life what I'm going after. And now there's going to be a recording out there you can just play over and over and over again to hold yourself accountable. So
when I cry in the shower, when I don't hit my goals, just play this episode over and over again.
I'm a fraud.
I'm a big fat fool.
You're a phony.
I'm watching a lot of Family Guy, dude.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff, man. All right, Nick. Well, hey, do you want to go ahead and kick it off and share with the audience what you're going to be working on in 2023?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I've got some different goals this year. So for those of you guys, maybe this is your first episode you're listening to us and didn't hear this last one, go check out our last one. It's really good. But I hit about 25% of my goals in 2021. Huge failure year. I sucked. And then 2022 hit about 75% of them. So I want to get closer to 100, which I know is going to be difficult, but I think setting those stretch goals is good. How am I going to do that? I'm going to not just plan how to track and what steps I need to take to get to my goals. I'm actually breaking it down to my daily level, and I'm going to share with you guys in one of my specific goals, because it would take me probably an hour just alone on all my goals and all the stuff that I have to do, because I have like 45 line items in this Excel sheet that I sent to X that I have to do every single day to hit my goals. But I want to share with you guys one specific example. So I have some overarching goals, and I'm going to deep dive into one. So my first goal is I want to take home over $100,000 in commission in my real estate business this next year. That is a 200% increase on my current year's take home commissions, and really is going to push us into a position to be able to not have to finance our additional dwelling unit that we build and just pay for it straight up in cash, which would be fantastic. So that's my big goal. That's the hairy one that I'm a little terrified to say on the podcast, because I need to do a really good job in my real estate business to get to that point. So that's kind of the lag. And then when I go into the lead, what does that mean? Basically, I'm breaking it down. I need listings, I need buyer's agent work, and then I need referrals. So I'm not really in the listing space. That comes with more time and more tenure. I'm going to hopefully get maybe one or two, but I'm accounting for zero because I want to be realistic with my goals. The way I'm going to do it is I'm planning on closing 12 deals for buyers clients this year. And that would average me to a portion where I would make up probably about $80,000 of that commission and take home. And that's take home commission for me if I close those 12 deals for buyer's agents. And that's just based on the kind of average that I closed in my current year right now as a 22 agent on the FI team. My next portion of that, so there'll be 2 leads for me. I want to have at least 6 referral deals. So I plan on helping people across the country, not just in California, run deals, do their analysis, do all this kind of stuff. And then hopefully I can bring them on and say, hey, I'd like to refer you to an agent that I trust, that we can get you set up and be successful. And then if that deal closes for that agent, no expense to my buyer, but I get a portion of that commission. It's called like mailbox money in the agent world, where it's like you can't really help somebody out, so you refer them out and you get a little bit of a check on the back end, which helps you honestly prepare yourself for moving into like more of an administrative role, because you can refer out deals to other people. So that's my lag. X, what questions do you have before we dig into the daily activities to get there?
How'd you come up with 100,000 for that being your goal?
So I came up with 100,000 because my wife and I should be able to easily save 50 grand. And our ADU is going to cost about 150. So if I have that 150 liquid cash, I can go ahead and use that to finance the ADU. And then obviously we would have a huge tax burden on that 100 grand that I earn, probably around $30,000. So we would be writing off the majority of the upgrades against the property, and then also doing quite a bit of write-offs in our business to then account for that $30,000, so that we don't have to pay the tax on that.
I love that you have it tied to another goal, which is to have the ADU, because now it's definitely becomes a lot more meaningful. Because there's some folks that are like, hey, I just want to make an extra $100,000. Okay, why? Well, it'll just be nice. Well, now it's like, well, I want to be able to finance ADU, so I really want it, and I really want to get after it. So, yeah, nice job with that, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. So let's dig into those daily tasks. So there's a lot of daily tasks. I'm going to have to pull them up on my Excel sheet because there's quite a few that I need to do. So I'll kind of run through them, and X, when you're ready, just like pop in with questions. So the first goal is daily. I need to post on the Bigger Pockets website at least 5 times a day. That could be in my area. That could be to random people in house hacking groups. That could be to random people that are asking questions in the forums. But I will be posting 5 posts on the forums every day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to accomplish that in the evening. And those will be important because I'll share with you why those are important, so I can make sure I can track to my goals. I'm also going to commit to posting daily on Instagram, whether that be via the W2 account to grow my brand, or to be on the Fi Family account to grow my brand there. Obviously, I'm not going to lie, I want to double dip a little bit, but I'm going to do that daily, 7 days a week, so I can make sure that I'm getting free content out there to grow my digital marketing or my online appearance, to make sure that my brand is continuing to go to get those referrals in. The next one is I'm going to start 2 Facebook groups. I'm going to start a house hacking Facebook group in the Inland Empire, and then I'm going to start the same one in San Diego. Those will be how I get some additional leads, because there's not really a huge community out here yet. I want to grow that community because it's really good markets to be able to do so. And then I want to be super active in those Facebook groups. So I will be checking that Facebook group daily, and I will be posting a deal breakdown or something in that, almost like a weekly checklist of an email, right? It's like an email checklist that goes out to everybody. So those are my first 3. Now that Facebook group is going to be a little bit interesting because we'll see how that grows. I don't really have goals tied to how fast that grows, but it would be sweet if it grew pretty quick. Next up, I'm going to offer free 15-minute consultation calls to anyone that is looking to schedule time with me to do house hacking. And that's going to hopefully help me with a referral business. Could be anywhere, man. I'll help you run a deal in South Dakota. I'll help you run a deal in Denver. I'll help you. I can find you an agent in Denver too, with the Fi team. But I want to be able to do that. And then I'm growing my network of real estate friendly agents right now to be able to help get those people referred out. So also tied into my goals will be meetup. So I want to have an in-person meetup once a month in San Diego and the Inland Empire. I've already got a couple other lenders interested in helping me run those, so that it'll be more of me showing up and marketing it, less of the execution of it. I'm going to leave that to them. I'm going to be doing also some recruiting for the Fi team. So I want 2 agents to work under me as like the lead agent. I want 2 in the Inland Empire, 2 in San Diego. And I'm going to accomplish that by executing. I'm going to be talking to a local agent each week in those markets. I can find those in Bigger Pockets. I can find those on signs, give them a call, see how they like a brokerage, hopefully work with them on recruiting them to the team, getting them on a call with Craig, and then kind of going from there. So those are all of my daily and monthly tasks. The only one I don't have on there, which I need to add, is I will be sending out a newsletter every week to everyone I have on my emailing list. And I'm going to grow that emailing list by making at least 500 cold calls a week, 250 cold calls a week, which is going to be about 50 a day if I do it during the week, which is not terrible, but it's going to be a challenge for me for sure, because I need to make sure I'm carving out at least an hour to knock out 50 calls.
That's awesome. What I find really interesting about your goals, it's you're in a way putting yourself pressure to execute them in a way that, if you don't set up a Facebook group for San Diego, you're probably not going to set one up for the one in Inland Empire. It's like if you don't do the meetups in San Diego, you'll be able to do the meetups in the Inland Empire. So it's like, when you accomplish a goal, you're pretty much double dipping. Like, perfect, I knocked out one region, I'm going to knock out the other one. Whereas if you don't do it, then the other one's going to suffer as well. So, you're double or nothing essentially in 2023, man.
That's the goal, man. Because I'm an all or nothing guy, and I think that would help me kind of accomplish those goals. Also, I'm really trying to put in practice the Atomic Habits book, the habit stack. So you like put two things that you like doing together with one thing you don't like doing, so that you can create the habit. For example, if I'm going to post on Bigger Pockets, I have to get all of those posts done in Facebook groups, Bigger Pockets, everything before I can play Call of Duty. I will not be able to play Call of Duty until those posts are done. And my accountability behind that is going to be my wife, because I'm going to give her the controller to the damn video game. So I literally cannot play until I can show her that I made those posts and did the whatever I needed to do during that day to be able to get that. So I'm kind of like trying to stack those habits together.
Oh, dude, I love that. I think Joanna would take you up on that, but a different way. She'd be like, X, you have to play video games for 30 minutes before you start working on this. Because for me, I'm just like, I just need to do this and I need to do that. And it's like, you're just never done. I'm like, there's just so many things to do. She's
Here's
have fun.
Go have fun. Here's what we do. If you don't disconnect, it's like your meditation. You have to pay her like $5 a day, because I know you're cheap ass and gonna want to pay her money.
Oh, dude, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do something like that. You're right, because I have a hard time disconnecting. So
yeah, make it hurt, man.
I'm gonna make her some money.
Yeah. So any other questions? So I wanted to deep dive with you guys on the podcast. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the lag, the lead, and then making sure you have your daily habits and tasks kind of built up to get those goals. I'm not going to really track my lag all that often, probably do it once a quarter, but I'm going to be doing my leads weekly, and I'm going to be checking my daily checklist every single day so that I can kind of accomplish those things together. Sorry, my dog just like freaked out over there. Man, it's really loud noise. But I'm down to jump in the rest of the goals if you're good, X.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right. So for number 2, this is going to be probably, I think, the hardest goal for me. I want to get down to 10% body fat. And I want to do that because my goal overall is to have improved health. And there's so much I have to do to get down to 10% body fat. It's going to improve my overall health. But part of that, taking vitamins, walking every day, working out at least 3 times a week, going to the gym every single day, regardless of workout, just to like do sauna and all that kind of stuff. But I want to get in good shape. And the reason I want to do this, and I think this is important for you guys when you set your goals, have a really clear why. I want to be in the best shape of my life when I become a dad. And I think staring down the barrel of that is in less than 2 years. And if that's the case, dude, I got no more fucking time. I got to get in shape, because I can tell you what, I don't see a lot of parents have young kids and get into great shape. So I'm like, shit, I got to get into great shape, take care of my body for these kids before I have these kids. So that was kind of like my goal there. And I really want to make sure that like I'm in a comfortable position, because I'm more productive when I'm at a better weight. I feel more athletic. I'm more willing to go do things. I feel better in the clothes that I wear. I just feel better overall. And I don't even know where I'm starting at. So I'm actually going to be texting a friend of mine, a personal trainer in the Inland Empire, Marco. So if you guys need any personal training advice, this guy's fantastic. He's also super buff, has really cool tattoos. So I'm going to hit him up and be like, dude, where's the best place for me to get like a DEXA scan, which is like that underwater body scan, so that I can see, okay, am I at 18%? Am I at 22? Like, what should be the realistic goal? Cause I don't think I'm outside of like 18%, but it's hard to measure body fat. It's a very subjective goal. The metabolism is very subjective. So I just want to make sure that I'm starting out with as much information as possible to hit that one.
I love it. You know who comes to mind, man? Our buddy Tim. I think he does a great job, just like now being a dad for almost 2 years, and he's incorporated his kid into his workouts. So now it's like you see him posting photos on Instagram where he's doing CrossFit. Baby Jack's right there. And that's
right there.
I think when I see that, I'm like, I want to be that kind of dad. It's just like, hey, we're still going to the gym. We're still going to the brewery. The kid's coming with me.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, the next goal is the W-2, man. This one's not like boring, but it's really important to me that we do this correctly. So for those of you guys who don't know, at my W-2, I'm in a project phase where I'm starting up a new site, and I want to start that site successfully. And the reason why is just like X and I had to go to a project site together and rebuild from the ground up. We worked like 60, 65 hours a week and killed ourselves for like 2.5 years. To do that, I want to make sure I'm the leadership team, senior exec team that's opening this site. I want to make sure we do it right. So that's my goal, is like to start the site successfully. And I have a bunch of stuff for work that's mapped out on how I'm going to get that done. But those are kind of like my goals outside of personal like development goals. So build the ADU, right? Start that process, take home 100 grand in commission, recruit some agents, get 10% body fat, start up the building successfully for my W-2. My last one, which I would tell you is probably the most important for me, is I'm like, this is like huge vulnerable because I haven't even talked about this with my wife. I want to be a better husband. I have noticed over the last 6 months of us being married, there are times where I am not present at all. I am focused completely on what I have in front of me, whether that be our podcast, whether that be the real estate agent business, whether that be my work. And there's been some stressful moments in all of those over the last 6 months, and I have not done my best job being the most accountable to her in terms of spending quality time, unplugging and plugging into her. Not a that's what she said joke, like actually just making sure that I am giving her my full attention, and then being present. Because I tell you, and I have moments of this. It's like we're getting real vulnerable here, folks. But I have moments where, you know, she's in San Diego full time and I'm down here alone, and I'm like, dude, she is the person I want to be with for the rest of my life. I miss her so deeply, but I can't like say that. Like, this will be the first time she ever hears that on this fucking podcast because I can't like muster the words. So I want to be a better husband. So how do I want to accomplish that? I want to make sure we have dedicated time weekly to sit down, just her and I, that is protected by everything, phone, family, whatever, like no matter what that needs to happen, even if it's 10 minutes, we just need to commit to doing that weekly. And then the second one is I'm going to be reading 2 communication books on how to be a more effective and open communicator. Because I find that I want to say these things. I want to be able to communicate effectively in these different ways. And I just can't always do that. And I want to make sure that that's something that I invest in myself because, you know, I'm a parent of, or a child of divorce. I don't want to have my kids go through that. You know, Evelyn is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I want to make sure that I can provide that life for my children that I want them to have. So that's probably, I would say, the most personal goal. That's the most important for me to accomplish. But like, those are the 6 that I have outside of our podcast goals, which we'll share with you guys again in like a part 3 of kind of what we do when we do a live goal planning session for the podcast. But that's it, man. Some pretty hard ones, some pretty easy ones. Big year ahead.
I love that, man. And I appreciate your vulnerability there. I think, you know, the one with your partner, with Evelyn, is probably one of the most important ones, just because if you guys are on the same page, if you guys are working in a relationship, everything is great. It makes everything else so much better. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the biggest thing. Is sometimes, you know, folks will not prioritize their relationship and focus on everything else, which can make things much harder for your overall goals. So yeah, I love that you put that one on there, man.
Yeah. Especially too, because when I think about it, man, like, you know, like so many couples fight about money and like being on the same page and moving in the same direction in life. We don't have that problem at all, man. Like, she got me into financial independence. She puts up with my craziness for these ideas. I mean, we're basically going to be able to retire by 40 at the worst, probably 35, and not like retire. Like, we're just going to do things that we really are passionate about. So it's like, man, I don't want to spoil this growth time because this is, yes, probably the hardest time. But I think it can be the most enriching if we do it right. So I just want to make sure that I'm holding up my end of the bargain and being committed to being the best version of myself I can be. And what I like about all my goals is they kind of align to my ultimate, right? Is I want to be and really formulate what my future is going to look like in 2023. And if I could do all these things, I'm going to be the best version of myself, I think, for the next coming couple of years. And I'm kind of looking at it like that, like have a good year, set yourself up for the next 5. Have a really good 2024, set yourself up for the next 5, and just keep stacking like that because you can move in that direction. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I feel like I got a pretty good plan. I got all of my stuff uploaded in Habify. I'm going to track that shit daily. I uploaded it all today before I went into my job. So that was good. That's all done. So like, I'm ready to roll. Like, and I'm actually starting tomorrow. I'm not even waiting for the first. I'm just going to start getting it down. Just so if I fuck up the first 2 days, it's not on my data sheet when I pull it for January, but, that's kind of the gig, you know, and like kind of the breakdown of what I have. And I have a lot going on, but it'll be fun too. Cause, I'd like to be able to kind of post on social media, 2 birds, 1 stone, accountability, post session on social media, how I'm doing, and kind of see how I'm tracking to everything. So.
Yep. And then I'm sure we're going to be doing probably quarterly updates on the podcast as well, how we're progressing. So we have another layer of accountability too.
Only if we're hitting our goals. No, I'm just kidding. Only if we're hitting our goals. All right, dude. Drop it, man. Drop. What are you working on? What's 2023 look like, X?
Dude, honestly, I got a bunch of stuff. However, there's some goals where it requires daily, weekly, monthly follow up and like habits to execute. And there's just some goals that just do it goals. You know what I mean? Like you've been
Yep.
wanting to do this for a long time. Just pick up the phone and make that call, do that volunteer event, whatever that is. So I'm going to start off just more from like the personal growth and just personal side. So one of the things that I want to start off with too is, so in order to just continue to grow, like in my relationship with my girlfriend, 52 date nights, means once a week, her and I go somewhere, either dinner, whatever it may be, whatever night is, ideally Friday nights, but you know, I definitely want to make that time with her. It's very easy to get caught up in the day to day when you're living together too. You can kind of get lost in the mundane. So I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm still making time for her and we're taking the time for each other. So it's definitely just one of my priorities for 2023. Along enough the personal side, just kind of do a few more things where, you know, just travel a little bit more, you know, either with her, do a friend trip. Nick, I haven't told you that, but we definitely want to do a friend trip next year.
I'm so down.
So hit you up on that as well. So it's like those kind of things that I want to make sure that kind of keeps you going, right? So I love the family. I love my friends too. So I definitely, in 2023, I don't want that to take a back seat from the goals that I'm trying to accomplish overall. Right. A few other things too, and I have a long list for personal, so just bear with me here. I want to do 4 volunteer events next year, man. So last year I did a couple just more like mentorships through our W2. I did a couple things here and there. So I would want to say at least once a quarter, do a volunteer event somewhere here in Minneapolis. I think would be great. I want to join a mastermind next year. So I'm finally going to go ahead and do it. I've been kicking the can around because I was trying to figure out which one I want to do. I actually decided to start today and I went ahead and submitted an application for one. I have a call scheduled next Thursday to see whether or not I'll get it. So stay tuned on that one.
Nice.
But definitely a big goal for me to do. Toastmasters, I've been putting it off. I want to do Toastmasters, man. I want to work on my communication. I want to work out how I deliver my message. And I think it'd be great overall as we're kind of growing the podcast, growing our role within our W2, kind of expanding our brand in general. I just want to make sure that I'm communicating in the best way. Lose 40 pounds. That one's going to be a little bit tougher. So for me, it's more about weight than body fat or than body fat percentage, just because I'm like at 260 right now. So I'm probably the most, how would I say it? I'm probably the most well-rounded, no pun intended, that I've ever been. But what I mean by that, it's like I have a good balance of like weight and muscle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a big guy. But I think I just want to go ahead and start shredding a little bit more of that fat. And by doing so, I'll be running, you know, a half marathon next year. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to have to buy a bike, but do a half marathon for, you know, cycling and figure out where to swim in the Twin Cities because, you know, for half the year, I can't really do that.
Oh, yeah.
So I like hit up a YMCA for that to overall kind of help me lose that weight. Because what I've noticed with myself is I have to have things going on from a physical perspective for me to actually do them. If I know I have a race coming up in May in Brooklyn, which I hopefully I'll be able to do the half marathon in Brooklyn, like I know I have 5 months to run and get in shape, right? Then if I do the biking in September, then I know I have, like, I'm just making sure I know how I work and it's to be very intentional with making sure that I'm able to lose that weight and hopefully keep it down. And a couple other things too. I've been feeling a little comfortable, I'd say the last 2 years and kind of where I'm at within my organization and our W2. So for 2023, I'm looking to take the next step and just get a promotion. So I definitely want to be more intentional with that. And and I have a couple of little things here and there for the personal side, but overall, when you take a look at the personal bucket, that's kind of what I'm going after for next year.
Dude, that's quite a bit. What's your plan of attack to track all of that and to follow back up with it? Because you got some good ones. I mean, I think you have some easy wins, dude. I think the day nights will be easy. For you guys who don't know, I have the fortune of being on a couple of bureau dates with X, and they've been pretty sweet. So I'm sure you and Joe can knock that out, no problem. I think the challenging ones for sure are the masterminds can be easy. I think the volunteer events are going to be easy. I think they're going to be very fulfilling. I think it's going to be the training for the half Ironman. I think that's going to be super challenging because it's so easy to not want to do that shit, man, because it's so cold in your city half of the year. Like, it's so cold there right now. I was like, how the fuck do you go outside? Like, that's crazy.
it's going to be hard. What helps is that I did a half marathon last year, and dude, it sucked to train for it. Like there were some days where I was running 10 miles, like at least once a week. I was doing 10 miles. So I was doing like, there was one day, like I ran 3 days in a week. One day I was doing 7, the other one I was doing 9, the other one I was doing like 10 or 11. So it is miserable. However, because I already went through it in my head, I'm like, okay, I can do it again. And you kind of get this high where you talk about like, hey, once you start going to the gym, like you just start getting a habit and you might want to do a little bit more, do one more rep. Same thing when I start running. As soon as like I hit mile 3 or 4, I'm just like, I'm already miserable. It's not too bad. Like just keep it going. So for me, it's like embracing the misery of that. You know, it's kind of one of those things where because I'm a competitor and I low key love some of the pain that comes with it, like I just keep going after it. So I'm going to break it up into where I start running, you know, a total of maybe 6 miles the first week where I do maybe 2 miles each, like for 3 days. I'm definitely going to space it out where I'm doing, you know, a couple miles every week to eventually be able to run that half marathon. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with the bike. I'm probably going to break it apart a little bit though, where it's like a portion of the year is going to be the running, a portion is going to be the bike, and the portion is going to be the swimming, just because I don't know how my body will be able to handle all that at once. And I want to make sure that I'm able to recover properly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think you're in a good path. So it sounds like some of the weekly check-ins and stuff like that will be the strategy. I mean, because that's a hell of a list. Dude. I mean, I got 6 things, bro. So it's like you have 6 personal things. I'm like,
like a good. Well, no, the thing is like a lot of, it's kind of like things that I've just been wanting to do and like I would say easier check off. You know what I mean? Like volunteer 4 times in a year. I mean, a lot of us could do that, right? And it's just I just have it on there because I know if I don't, I'm not going to do it.
That makes sense. Sorry, guys, if you can hear my neighbor dog barking like effing crazy. He's going nuts right now. So
yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, man. What's up with the vesting goals, bro? No investing goals? Come on now. What you doing?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna go in.
Juice.
We're gonna go into the real estate portion of it. So the first section here is so my partner and I, Felipe, I'm gonna join him in his inner circle mastermind, and I'm gonna start doing coaching sessions with his students there. So it's super exciting. So my goal with that, so I'll be doing 52 total coaching sessions next year. So not only do that, my goal is for next year to help at least 12 of those students acquire either their first property or a property. You know, I definitely want to play a role in that. I definitely want to give back and be able to share with folks how I've been able to do things and hopefully provide a little bit of guidance and mentorship on how they can acquire that next deal. I also want to be able to bring on 12 people onto the Inner Circle Mastermind, right? So through organic conversation, whatever that may be, if I feel like it's going to be a good fit for somebody that's looking to get to the next level to do some kind of mastermind, and if it's a good fit, I'd love to bring them on as well too, to be a part of that program. So that's kind of what are the goals that I have for next year. I have here attend 4 conferences next year. I love BBCon. I always go to BBCon. I need to start branching out beyond BBCon. So I'm looking to do, BBCon next year. Obviously, that's a gimme.
Yep.
I love the Multifamily 6 conference from Jake and Gino, so I'll be doing next year as well. The Best Ever conference is going to take place in Utah, I believe in March, if I want to go to that. And Thatch, based out of Seattle, has a great conference out there too that I would love to attend. So I definitely want to start doing that more from a networking brand perspective. And to go along with that, I want to have 6 meetups next year here in the Twin Cities. So I want to be able to, go to a brewery, whatever that may be, post on Facebook groups here, post in Bigger Pockets, and talk about the meetups. Because it's about time. I've been out here for 2.5 years, and I have yet to do a meetup, and I'm a real estate investor. And a lot of people are like, hey, man, you live in Minneapolis, so what do you do out here? Nothing. All I do is invest out of state. So I feel like if I'm going to be here a little bit longer, it's time for me to actually start doing a couple of meetups here. Now, when it pertains to physical and actual properties, for me, my goal is to acquire something next year with close to little to no money down or using other people's money. And I want to do a property next year in a form of subject to. So what I mean by that is subject to is when essentially you take over an existing loan from a seller and you go ahead and start paying that loan yourself. So you take over somebody's mortgage payment. The loan is still on their name. However, you are now the owner. You're on title. You're on the deed. and you just take those payments over. So for me, I want to be able to subject to a multifamily property here in Minneapolis that I can live in and start renting out. So in order for me to do that, one, that's the mastermind trying to get into the subject to mastermind. I need to join their Facebook group. I need to join their mastermind. I already determined my market. I need to start doing research on PropStream and pull those lists, determine my criteria, get all my paperwork lined up of what I want to do, start analyzing 5 deals a week, start calling at least 5 people a week. So I think for that one, it gets a little bit more granular. Every year I've been able to acquire one property. So I'm okay with still kind of staying with the philosophy right now, especially with doing subject to. I've never done that before. I don't know what it's going to look like. So I want to make sure that I don't get too distracted on trying to acquire all these different properties and really just focus on obtaining that subject to property here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy to go with, especially because you're going to have a lot of people that are locked in at super low interest rates. They may be a little underwater or may need to sell and can't really sell in the day's market or whatever the case may be. Because I'll be honest with you guys, like I've seen already like a probably $30,000 to $50,000 decrease in like the area I live in, Redlands. So yeah, it's probably a great strategy, especially if you can do that shit in the Twin Cities, man, because there's some really good deals to be had out there for small multifamily.
Absolutely. And the thing, the luxury or the benefit of going the subject to route based off the interest rate and based off how much the seller would want down, you can still pay a premium for the property, right? So you have some folks that are probably underwater right now that they would have to write a check at closing just to sell that property. Well, if they have an option where they don't have to write a check, someone takes over the loan, someone gives their house is probably worth $450. I'm willing to give them $500,000 as long as, you know, I take over the mortgage. I do little to no money down payment for the property. I don't care about paying $500,000. That works for me and it works for them. So yeah, 2023 is going to be very interesting when it pertains to that piece. And then lastly too, I want to be able to acquire one property with AlphaGate Capital. So that's a company that I'm working with alongside with Tony. So we've been definitely going at it this year, trying to do a lot of research, trying to go after properties. We have some that have kind of worked out well, others that haven't. And we haven't been able to technically close on one just yet and get through the finish line. So my goal for next year is to at least get one under contract for us to be able to go in and kind of rehab the place, list as short-term rentals, and be able to execute for that company. So in order to do that, right, I got to go back and, continue to analyze at least, 5 to 10 deals a week, make 5 to 10 calls for brokers a week as well. And as long as I continue to do that, that's going to eventually lead to having an LOI with having an LOI, which means sending you a letter of intent with a commercial property, which eventually we get in a contract, which you go through inspection, like a whole different process with it. But yeah, man. So essentially I'm trying to acquire one property from the commercial side, one property from the personal residential side, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Got some steep goals, bro. Some what is it? Hairy audacious goals or whatever it is. Big hairy audacious goals.
Yeah, it's when I wrapped up, I was like, man, this is a lot. However, I think that there's some that's really going to end up bleeding into others, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, in terms of the analyzing properties, PropStream, like there's going to be things that are going to be crossing together. When we talk about building a personal brand, like doing meetups and doing conferences, like there's just things that I can pretty much be doing simultaneously. It's going to help me kind of knock out some of these goals. So, as I've kind of gone through this, as I've gone through this list, it's definitely an opportunity for me to clean up a few things, which is great. That's why we kind of go through this, right? We kind of talk about it, see what can work well, what doesn't work well. So definitely to refine these, but yeah, man, 2023, it's funny because Felipe on the podcast when we had him a couple weeks back, he was like, man, X is comfortable right now. And I was just like, shit, he's right, man. Like, I'm comfortable. Like, I feel like I have a good life, great girlfriend, great job, rental properties are doing great. Like, there's definitely some room though, where I feel like I can definitely just give back more to folks and I can definitely be more efficient and do better within my goals. So 2023, that's where I'm going to crank it up a little bit.
Nice, man.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to us kind of keeping each other accountable, tracking toward these, and then also making sure that we're moving in the right direction. And then sharing this out kind of with the podcast, man. I mean, it's going to be vulnerable, but I think we'll be able to share like when we do well and when we don't do well. I hope you guys like it too. So anything else before we kind of sign off?
When we release these episodes, guys, we'll be posting them on Instagram as well as Reels. Feel free to drop what your goals are, right? Let us know what you guys are working on. DM us your goals. Let us know what we can do to help you guys. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Take advantage of Nick. He's saying 15-minute calls, to help out for whatever what. Like that could be one thing as well too. So we would love to help you guys out on what you're going after for 2023.
And with that, we are your W2 Amigos. If you guys are looking to connect with us a little bit more around the podcast, please reach out to us at the W2 Amigos on Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube. We would greatly appreciate if you guys haven't shared this podcast with a friend. See if you can get them on the W2 investor path. We would greatly appreciate that. If you're looking to hit me up, you know the deal, the Fi Family at Instagram and TikTok. And then also if you are looking for any advice on how to get started in real estate investing while holding a W2 for your own personal residence, let me know and I can help you out. X, what about you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok at XavierMarin_. We will talk to you guys soon.